I'm just kind of streaming to spitball and kind of give an update. So after some time working towards, let me open it up. Draw.io. Go here. So we've seen this thing a lot. I've rearranged the login, cloud deployment, and then CDN, and private key network keyring service is the only one that will not be accomplished in the CDN technology set, or more than likely, that's just not. It will not be working on a private IPFS network right away because we need to perfect the public one right away to make it currently up to standard, up to snuff for security. IPFS itself exposes insecure HTTP API gateway, and so I'm actually working on transitioning from my emphasis on Golang, or sorry, emphasis on JavaScript into Golang. I've read a significant portion of IPFS Go's core HTTP and core services, libraries here in their core, as well as I've taken a look at the Caddy server work, and I want to use it like a library because I'm getting pissed. I'm approaching it as making two servers communicate for scalability, but the irony is like IPFS as a concept is one node, so therefore the node should be bulletproof and secure, and we should own that. As well as I just want to run a library that just says run and it just is secure without having to route two virtual machines together or one machine have port forwarding appropriately to reverse proxy into an insecure application. It's stupid. Time to make it secure. So that's the fun. I'm going to have to write an extension for core HTTPS, I think somehow. I honestly don't know what I'm going to do. There's a many ways to skin a cat, and this one feels like it needs a bridge library that wraps it. But I think I'm gonna have to put it outside of an IPFS Go library and probably make like a I don't know. I don't know where it's gonna belong exactly, but it's an extension that will take over the HTTP function. So it's in a functional sense, which Golang orients itself very well for because it is functional and immutable in its execution, which I've learned is important. So I'm going to figure out how I'm going to make that all happen. My friend Aaron is working on hustling to figure out the financials of what is our markup on Amazon S3, Google Cloud Engine storage for data stores, right? And then I'm going to be working on the uh, malicious peer detection and prevention for virus scanning and aspects on that area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover most of this. So Orbit Database Queue will not be covered. Private Network Key Service will not be covered. And streaming optimization will be covered. So it's really those two concepts that this CDN cloud hosting company is software as a service is going to miss on the substratum network roadmap. And of course, any company that employs me is going to employ my independent contracting firm, Traiforce Group LLC, to keep the liability separate. And they are going to accept as a company that I publish my work for free. And it adds beneficial security, the benefit of security, and many other aspects. So I'm excited, and we'll see how this works. Um, so I found my competition here, Storj, right here, and it's interesting. It's really cool. I think this is a great step in the right direction. I was reading a little bit more. I went through their other pages. So I like Gitbook. Probably going to use that myself. So they store unused drive capacity. It's almost like mining, but with maybe more sense in it with cryptocurrency. So it's a step in the right direction. I don't believe they're enterprise or production ready, and I could be wrong. I need to really read their code, but encrypting a file locally and chunking it across the network isn't necessarily secure if an API can retrieve it. And yeah, they say permissions and such, but I'm not convinced. I will have to do more research into their product, but it doesn't it doesn't make me waver in my substratum and stratum network concepts that I think are important. And I think we'll just be a competitor in the space, and may the best company and solution win. So that's it for me. I'm kind of got a lot going on in my crazy head of mine. So I've taken a step back, working on some personal life aspects, And I'm thinking about I've also been reading a lot of the library's code, thinking about how I'm going to stitch these two together. So this is just a quick update for like a 5-minute reel of where my head's at. I'm going to be stitching together Caddy server, Caddy 2. So I'm going to take, it's a 0SSL project, which I'll probably pay them for their liability distribution of encryption key management and utilize the library to receive that functionality for my IPFS nodes. That may be more of a consultation though on how to include 0SSL certificates. They do have an HTTP library that is software as a service for SSL keys or certificates and certificate authority functionality. So I think that makes a lot of sense. So they use Cert Magic. It's really badass. I've read a significant portion of this code, and it looks pretty cool. And a lot of it's over my head, truthfully. But I learned a lot reading it. So the idea is I'm going to utilize the library aspect. I'm going to ensure that the Caddy TLS functionality is baked into my IPFS HTTP gateway protocol. Now, IPFS actually released, and I'm going back into my origin, cross-origin resource sharing roots, and where I've honestly goofed up in the past. So I've learned a lesson on how to manage cross-origin resource sharing, and it's really a platform and product or domain-owned concept. And so you have to really do it right if you want to make a scalable platform as a service to serve other domains or websites, right? So nothing's easy. My friends are screaming in Discord about Marvel Avengers. It's wild. So let me go to IPFS Gateway, IPFS API Gateway. So they updated their document, and I'm like kind of blown away. Like I was rereading it, and it's like significantly updated from what I recall, or I'm just too stupid and I'm finally learning. So I was looking through. I want immutable content or immutable root. So there's a different reasons. So supports cores, things of that nature. So like if you built an IPFS hosted app and you access it, or sorry, gateway app here, subdomains are not the same origin. So I'm really not sure what they mean by it supporting cross-origin security. I think what that means is the gateway itself might expose Core's configuration for web hosting or domain ownership detection. So you'll get a call from your.com and it will automatically apply your web domain to the allow. Um, it'll be the origin here, right? They'll modify it to match the website that asked for the data. So it's possible, totally possible. So I want to do this IPFS subdomain on blobchain.io, which is not blobchain. That's probably not where we're going with substratum. So we'll see. So yeah, and they talked about delay sensitive applications. So this is kind of where the CDN will have to manage caching mechanisms for their edge nodes. So there's going to be upload nodes, there's going to be edge nodes, and I'm going to start defining all these things. It's exciting, but it's not. So there's a lot to do, and I'm like kind of spreading myself thin. And like it talks about how end-to-end cryptographic validation would need to be required because the gateway itself does not expose IPFS hash checking, which is important to its security functionality. So it's important to know that using a CDN gateway in this format doesn't give you every functionality IPFS comes baked in with, but we're going to make sure we expose why we can guarantee that security and what our gateway will be running with. And our gateways will essentially be decentralized centralization or distributed centralization, I should say. So we're going to use the scaling capabilities of a distributed system, running on the public distributed system, but be a centralized body that owns the nodes that we spin up. If we don't, for tardigrade, so let's go to storage.io. So it's a pretty cool concept. I kind of want to bash them, but like no, they're in the. This makes me feel valid in where I'm approaching my business and work for my CDN. Um, but it's about getting paid, hosting a node, and that's cool. That's cute, and they had very specific information on hosting chunks versus not. I don't want to get in the business of knowing how many chunks take to recover a file. Like that's where we should trust the developers of IPFS and understand that it's out of our hands in more of a torrent network swarm concept. So I think tardigrade is a great idea. I think storj is a great idea. I think I could still do it better. They encrypt and upload the file. So they're saying that if they encrypt your file and chunk it up, it must be safe. Wrong. I think that's an attack vector. Um, so client-side encryption, to me, this doesn't mean your file is going to be secure if it's hosted on the public IPFS network. If it's a private network, then everything I'm saying is a lie, and I have not analyzed their code enough. So I am curious. Um, I don't want. So they have tokenization, which it's not a coin. It's security based, decentralized, like Ring of Trust or keyring concepts. Bitchin'. That's awesome. It shows me I'm in the right direction. So I'm pretty excited. They have a GitHub here. And I'm learning a lot of how I would like to do things. So may the best company win, right? And being not the first person in the market is actually a beneficial thing. I can see some hindsight things on their side. They're doing quite a bit, and it looks like they're S3 compatible, Amazon S3. So that means I have to do better. I have to provide on IBM, Google, and others. So I think it's possible, but I don't believe the way they're approaching it is technically securely stored. But I could be wrong. Yeah, encrypted file transfer on the storj network. Yeah, I just don't think it's the right way to build your network. It doesn't feel right to me based on my security experience and education. So, storing an encrypted file on an open network still means it can be brute force later if it's allowed to be downloaded. If it's not allowed to be downloaded, it is a private network node system, and there isn't a vulnerability in that node system because you've done a good job of securing it, which they could have done. I could be wrong. So, like, look, they have like they have quite a bit that they're supporting here, so it's pretty cool. Um, logs of dev meetings, wild. So I want to be a little bit more. Oh, wow. So this is what IPFS is built off, like a concept it's building off of. So this is pretty cool. So I've given about a 12-minute update. I'm going to give one more thing here. So this is not complete. I'm working on a constitution for my organization that I sign that binds myself to civil rights of our state constitution, which for me it's Massachusetts, and the federal constitution. And I want to amend this thing to be a usable working government or governing body of an organization that knows its roles in society. So I think this is the step in the right direction, and I'm trying to work on how I can associate my betterment of society, my good citizenship stuff, whether it's pursuing Black Lives Matter and other legality, and what laws exist to help protect the people, especially our most vulnerable communities. So I'm excited. It's certainly a work in progress. I'm hoping to have this done shortly, though. So I think this is the last thing to get me out of my Groundhog Day experience that is 2020, COVID, shelter in place, and unemployment. So with that, peace out, and I will probably be streaming more content related to my actual implementation of the Go HTTPS. I'm probably not going to stream as much as I go here, but this is more of the rambling developer rambling, so it's kind of my outlet. So we'll see what happens in the future. But and no music, so I just stopped getting copyright banned on fucking YouTube. So with that, I bid you adieu. Peace out. Thanks for listening.